Hi everyone. Today I am using my soft pastels assortment and I wanted to show some more ways that you can use these pastels in your card making. I showed a video last week that used the pastels to create just a background where we just used them as a coloring medium, and that was fun. And today I want to show you kind of a throwback way to use them. Here's that background real quick. So I just used the pastels directly on the paper to create a background, and then I used my sponge daubers to kind of blend it out a little bit. And there's a whole video on that one. And then today we're going to do something called Poppin Pastels. Now, the last time I did Poppin Pastels, it was, I don't even know how many years ago. A long time ago, I did them as a customer, and I've been a demo for 15 years or so. So that's how long ago I did Poppin Pastels. And we did them with a stamp set called Lovely as a Tree. There was a line of trees, and we stamped those, and then we added some leaves with the pastels. And so I'm kind of recreating that. Lovely as a Tree is no longer a stamp set. I think I still have it actually, but I want to use something that you can get your hands on. So I'm going to do a similar thing using this stamp set called Beauty of the Earth, and then I'm going to show you some other ways to use Poppin Pastels. Now, the idea behind Poppin Pastels is that you use Versamark, which is a clear but sticky pad, and this is what we use when we do embossing. And another thing we can use it with now is with our soft pastels. So let me show you how to do that. I'm going to start with this tree card because that was my memory of Poppin Pastels. So I want to recreate that memory. I'm using a piece of Very Vanilla, and this is cut, I believe, 3.5 by 4 3/4. Doesn't sound right. Looks like I cut them all earlier. 4.5 by 3 1/4. And it's Very Vanilla. And then I'm going to grab just the tree from Beauty of Friendship. I think I said Beauty of the Earth earlier. That's the paper that matches it. Beauty of Friendship. And in this stamp set there are a couple different ways to use it. You've got these larger and smaller leaves that you can layer in different shades of green, and I decided that I liked this one for this technique because it's got a lot of open spaces and I wanted it to look like fall. So, you know, your trees are kind of getting sparse in the fall. Plus I wanted to be able to show the smudged pastels behind it. So this is the one we're going to use, and then here, and then I'm also going to use this little splatter and sentiment. Okay, so I'm going to start off with the base of the tree, and I'm going to use Early Espresso. And I'm going to do a little tree line. I want them to kind of be a little bit staggered in height, so this one is going to I'm going down off the page a little bit. See, my trunk is hanging off the end. I think on my sample I did soft suede for a lighter trunk. But you can do it however you like. Then I went a little taller, and then this one maybe a little shorter. Trying to make them staggered so that, you know, I couldn't line them up if I tried, so it's better to stagger them on purpose. Okay, so that's our background. And then you're going to take that leaf set, I got a little smudge on it, and we're going to stamp it with Versamark. And like I said, it's clear, so luckily the stamp set is also clear, and we can go right over the top. Okay, and now we're going to get out those pastels. Now the pastels come in a few colors, and they are Daffodil Delight, Mango Melody, Poppy Parade, Gorgeous Grape, Mossy Meadow, Coastal Cabana, Granny Apple Green, and they're calling this Night of Navy. Looking at it, it looks Pacific Point, but it's actually, I don't know, I think that it goes with a lot of the blues. I think it looks nice on the navy. I did that on navy with my boats, my sailboat card, but I also think it looks nice with Misty Moonlight, and Pacific Point has a little brightness to it that this doesn't have, but I think you could still actually get away with it. And then Balmy Blue is a little grayer, but I think you can also use it. So anyway, you can play around with this blue and see where it works. I kind of like that it works with just about any of the blues. So there's a couple different ways to use these sticks. Oops, I don't want blue for trees. I want this kind of darker. You can try to get some of the chalk dust. The pastels are kind of like a chalk. I call them chalk. Maybe that's wrong. You can try to get it off of there, but I think it's best to kind of give yourself a little scrap paper where you can get some chalk dust. So that's kind of what this is. So I'm going to take my soft pastels and just kind of give myself a little area here of chalk dust. And then I'm using a sponge dauber. Now, silly me, I haven't used sponge daubers in quite a while because I've been loving those blending brushes, and I tend to use my regular sponges, and I didn't realize how long it's been since I used sponge daubers, and mine are all ancient, and they're kind of, I mean, they're very ancient and crumbling from years of ink and stuff. So anyway, I ordered some more, but right now this is what I have. So you can kind of pounce. That's kind of what you call when you just kind of take the dauber and do that. Or you can do little rubbing motions. So it's kind of up to you how you want to do it. It doesn't seem to smear the image by rubbing. That Versamark, it doesn't seem to then make it into a smear. So you can do that, but I like to pounce a little bit. I think that gives us a little more control. Okay. So there is some of the yellows. I'm just kind of going around. Okay, and then I'm going to grab some of that Poppy Parade. And I think I'm going to go back to get some more of this mango. And you can mix the two kind of, if you go over some of the poppy areas with the mango, you'll get it more of an orange. So you can mix and get some different color variations here. I think I'm good. Now, a question I see popping up all the time on a lot of the demonstrator forums are, do you need a fixative on top of this, some kind of spray to keep the chalk from continuing to mess up? And actually, I have not found that to be the case. For example, I did this Thinking of You boat last week, maybe it was Wednesday or so, and if I took my thumb and went like this, I'm not messing it up. See? I think once you've kind of blended it in with those daubers, it's kind of already fixed in. Now, there are some little pieces of dust that, because I didn't, that came off. So you might want to take a paper towel, and just wipe away some of the dust, or, you've got dust on your workspace. But as far as needing a fixative, I have not found that to be the case at all. So that is a question I keep seeing popping up. Why don't we sell a fixative? How are we supposed to keep the dust in place? And it really isn't necessary, in my opinion. Okay, so that's our background. Now I do want to take this a little step further. I want to add some gold because I'm trying to make it a little fancier. So I'm going to use some gold embossing. So I'm going to grab that Versamark again. And in the stamp set, you'll see there's a little splatter. That would be fun to add fall leaves to the background too, but I wanted to do the pastels. But I thought it might be fun to just add a little bit of gold. So what I want to do, because this I already have a layer of Versamark on there, and a lot of that stickiness has been taken away because I added the chalk, but just in case, I want to take my embossing buddy. If you've never seen this, it's something we sell. Inside here, it's kind of like a little pillow of chalk, pillow of dust, and you just kind of run it over to kind of remove static and dust and static and things from your paper before you emboss. So I'm going to do that just to kind of help take away any stickiness that's still there. There might still be some because I did put a lot of Versamark down, but that'll help so that we still get a good detail with these spots. Now I'm just going to add the spots kind of randomly throughout my trees. Some high, some low. I think I did 3 or 4. Maybe that was 5, I don't know. And then I'm going to add the gold embossing powder. I like to shake off on a little scrap paper. I had a little tray, but there's always scrap paper on my desk. So that's what I tend to use. And I'm just going to sprinkle the gold around. Now, like I said, there's going to be gold on places I didn't add the spot because that Versamark that I put down earlier is kind of shining through. But if I tap it a few times, some of that's going to come off. Okay, so let me get rid of this. Okay, and heat this up. I like to fast forward during the embossing because it's kind of loud on the microphone. So it'll look funny, but it'll save your ears. Okay, there's my little splattering of gold. And you can see that some gold powder stuck to areas that I didn't stamp with the splats, but I think that's okay, kind of fun. And I'm going to go ahead and finish off this card. So I'm using a base of Early Espresso, and I'm putting a background down from the, oh, what is the name of that? Just popped out of my head. Tasteful Textures? No. Oh, I don't even know. In Good Taste. It's so funny how sometimes things just pop right out of your head. Anyway, the In Good Taste is a bunch of backgrounds, a lot of wood textures, which I love, but there's also some, look at this, dark wood, light wood, but then there's also bricks and tiles and different types of tiles, and then there's some textures too, like this looks like a towel, and tapestry rug maybe. Anyway, lots of fun, and there's some gesso background textures, really fun, all good kinds of backgrounds, and it's a big pack too. So take a look at that In Good Taste. The one I use most, I have to say though, is the wood grain. So I'm going to put that down. I'm just realizing I didn't score this. Alright, so I've got my background, and then I'm going to place my Very Vanilla piece on top of a little bit of Early Espresso also. So this is 1/4 of an inch bigger than the vanilla piece. And I'm going to pop that up with some dimensionals. And then for my sentiment, oh, these pieces, let's use them up before they keep getting in my way. This is just a little strip of that Designer Series paper. I'm going to put at the bottom of a little bit of Very Vanilla. And that's just for the inside. Okay. For my sentiment, I have these little scraps from my crumb cake bin, and I'm going to stamp my sentiment in the Early Espresso. And then I wanted a little bit of ribbon behind there, and I wanted to bring in some of that gold. And I really like this ribbon. It's called, what is it called? Fine Art Ribbon, and it's kind of like a burlappy texture or a linen, but with gold flecks running through it. So I kind of think that's fun. It's like having something rustic with some fancy gold, which I kind of tried to recreate in my tree. So I really like the idea of this ribbon. I want to put it down, but I thought I would jazz it up a little bit. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut myself a piece, and if you fray the end a little bit, so that you can grab a hold of one of these pieces from the middle and you pull it, you can kind of ruffle up the ribbon a little bit. So give it a little ruffle. So that's what I'm doing here. And I think that's kind of a fun look. And I'm going to put that behind Oops, a little bit more. I put that behind the sentiment, so let me clean up my end here. And I like to put that down with tear tape. It's just strong, and I know the ribbon's not going to come off. And you can kind of just press it down. And then I want this to go right on top. So I'm going to stick a glue dot behind that just to keep it in place. I want it not flopping down. There, that'll keep it right where I want it. And then my dimensionals kind of high because I need to go over the ruffles here. And there is my Poppin Pastels tree card. Hope you like that. And then I want to show you a couple other varieties. This next one I'm using the Misty Moonlight for my blue tone here. And I'm using a fun new collection called Color and Contour. I so much enjoy these dies, I can't even tell you. They're so awesome. There's scallop rectangles in so many sizes. They're going to fit what you need. You could put sentiments on the smaller one. You can do small images, big images, the entire background. And then I love this little scallop edge. Isn't that cute? And then, of course, you've got a couple of dies for your images. Let me show you the stamp set. Now with Poppin Pastels technique that we're doing today, you can use either the full flower image or the outline image. Now on the tree one, we kind of use the filler for the leaves. This time I'm going to use the outline, and we'll do that on some white. Alright, so for this one, we are going to use that outline image, and again we're going to take the Versamark and we're going to kind of randomly put it around. The size of this white doesn't matter because I'm going to cut it out with a die, so you want to make sure it's just big enough for whatever die you choose to use. I don't think I need to go all the way across. I think I'm good right there. Little bits of ribbon on the table. Okay, so then I'm going to use my little chalk scratch paper again. And this time we're going to use some brighter colors. So I'm going to grab that blue. See what I mean? It's not navy. It doesn't seem navy to me, but it's still a pretty color. And I'm going to add it to my flowers. And see how they just appear? That's probably why it says Poppin. They pop out at you once you start adding the pastels. You couldn't see them before, now you can. It's a fun little technique. It's fun to do with a group at a class because then it's like, oh, look at, now my flowers are showing. I miss classes, can you tell? Okay, and then I'm going to do Coastal Cabana. This one's more true to color, I think. Fun, right? All right, what color? I think maybe the purple. So it can be messy, although you can see I just kind of went like this. I don't think my fingers look that bad after doing one card. Now somebody else asked, does the Versamark dry out before you get to all the flowers? And I think I have never had it happen. I mean, eventually maybe it would. Maybe that stickiness dries up, and if you wait too long, it won't work anymore. Maybe. I've not had it happen, so I don't know. I've never tested it. That was a question somebody asked. All right, I'm going to do the blue again. I have a Facebook group that I would love you to join. It's called Beth's Paper Cuts Ideas Sharing Group. And if you join that group, it doesn't have to, you don't have to be a customer. You can be a fellow demonstrator. You can be a customer. You can be just someone who wants to see more craftsy things. The cool thing about it, that I think anyway, is that I allow you to post too. So maybe you've got some Poppin Pastel samples that you want to show. So you can't promote your own website, but you can show samples. And you can see other people's samples. So maybe you want to get some more ideas. I mean, I make this card, but someone else might give you an idea for a different one. And so I hope that you'll consider joining and posting in the group. You don't have to wait for me to post. A lot of times the group only allows the admin to post, and I kind of wanted to make it where anyone can post because I want to see what you're making too. So that's my hope. I mean, people are shy. I get it. You can be a lurker if you want. Okay, I think I'm done. I'm gonna shake this over my garbage can and move this. Now, when I use the pastels, I do occasionally take my paper towel and just kind of, I don't want any random colors showing up where I don't want them. Okay, so for this card, I'll show you one. I'm going to cut it out. I'm going to cut out just a portion of it. So I'm going to grab those dies from the color and contour set, and I'm going to go with the third largest. It's really cute. It's got scallop and it's got the little stitching. And then just kind of move this around. See, I'm going to use that one. Actually, maybe I'll add more here, and then I've got some for another card later. Alright, so I'm going to cut that out. I will be right back. Okay, my cutter's on the desk behind me, and my desk is too crowded to bring it over here. Alright, so here is my nice little piece. Isn't that cute? So it's like you're making your own little designer series paper. Alright, now I already cut the scallop out of this just to save time, and I want to say, save your little leftover pieces, because how cute is this? It looks like waves, and you can imagine layering some, and you'd have some little waves, and then you could make a card with like that baby shark stamp set or something. Okay, so I'm going to use this little strip of DSP. This is from the In Color 6x6 pack, and I'm going to add that to the bottom. Oh, but first I'm going to put a piece of white on the inside. I like to add a piece of white. Is that the right size? Yes. I like to add a piece of white cardstock to the inside just to kind of finish it off, and people can read your handwriting a little easier sometimes. I'm going to put this down, and then I'm going to put this strip on top. Okay, and then it shows through. See how cute? I went a little long, so I got to trim that. There we go. Okay, so now I'm going to grab this guy, and I want to wrap it with some ribbon just to add some pretty. I've got a few choices here, and I think I'll go with this Pool Party sheer ribbon, and I want a layer, so I think I'm going to go with, maybe I'm going to go with that. And I've been trying some more funkier bows. We'll see. Sometimes a simple bow is best. Alright, this I'm going to lay across like this. And then I'm going to tie it with this combination here of the white crinkle seam binding ribbon and this really fun Misty Moonlight and Silver Baker's Twine. I think it's from the Flower for Every Season pack, maybe. So let's see how this works. Let's see how this works. I'm not sure. Just kind of wanted there to be a little more than usual going on, and sometimes I bite off more than I can chew. Alright, so it's like you need to be an octopus. So hold that down with my wrist and tie a knot. There we go. So now I've kind of got these little tails here. And I guess I could have tied all 3 in a bow, but I think 2 things at one time with my bow is enough for me to handle, which is why I let this one just kind of be loose. And then I'm going to tie these in a bow. Alright, so now I'm going to trim. I went too long on these guys. And then just to make things stick where you want it, I'm going to put a glue dot behind it, because when you're holding the one with the wrist, it might not be tight enough. So I am going to put a glue dot behind it all just to make it stay put where I want. There. Okay. So there's my little more going on crazy bow. Some dimensionals. And then I already made the greeting. This video gets pretty long. And that's going to go right in the middle. The nice thing about the video is that you can fast forward. It's like you never know what to take out and what to put in. I kind of put a lot behind here because I don't want it to rock. Although I used a pretty flat bow. Okay. There. Kind of fun, right? I love this scallop. Okay, and I have one more. The last one's is a fast one. Pretty simple. I am using my Stamparatus because it's large stamp, and that big block is just so big, the largest size. And so I decided, hey, you know what? I have a Stamparatus. Why don't I use that instead of the large block? Normally the Stamparatus I just use when I'm doing techniques, but for this purpose, it's perfect. All right, a little magnet to hold it down. So this is Blossoms in Bloom stamp set, and it's this large blossom set. And I'm going to stamp it down. Bring back my chalk. And I'm going to make myself a pile again of the grape. Okay, I got my purple. All right, now I want to add some yellow to the centers. And you could have put down all the Versamark at one time, but I just wanted to make sure my centers stayed yellow, so I didn't want to accidentally get any purple in them. Because, you know, purple and yellow are kind of across from each other in the color chart. And sometimes when you mix them, you end up with a not pleasant color. So I want them next to each other. They do complement nicely next to each other, but not necessarily blended together. So now I'm going to use Daffodil Delight. Kind of get some of the orange off of it from the trees. Okay. Okay. Now, if you feel like I didn't get close enough on the purple, you can go back in with the sponge dauber. You can even use a Q-tip and kind of color in some more purple. Okay, now I do want to point out, I got chalk dust scattered. I do want to point out that if you think you've gotten too messy, maybe you've decided that you went a little too far, you can take an eraser and erase the chalk dust, not the part by the Versamark, but the sides, if you need to clean it up. I want to clean up here because I want to add leaves, and I got a little out of control, and so I'm going to clean it up a little bit. So I wanted to point that out. That could be a fun thing if you make some smudges. Maybe you can even purposefully erase areas for highlights. Like maybe if I had done that on the water, that might be fun for some white caps. Anyway, it's not perfect, but it does come off a lot. Alright, so I cleaned up some areas for my green leaves. I'm not cleaning it up entirely because I kind of like the faded out look. I just want to have some spots for green. Alright, so I'm going to go back in with my Versamark, and I'm going to add some leaves there. I need some more. Alright, so I think we used all the colors. Oh, except for the Mossy Meadow. Maybe I could have put a little bit of that on my trees. I forgot to use Mossy Meadow. I thought that I was using all the colors, and I just realized I did not use all the colors. Okay. And then for this one, I'm going ultra simple. And I am just going to... There is a die that goes with this collection that's amazing, but I'm just going to go ultra simple. Not everybody has the die cut and embossing machine, and sometimes they get pricey, so I like to show that you don't always have to have the dies for a stamp set. This stamp set's super pretty, even without the dies. If you can grab the dies, they're really cool. So I'm going to go around with some ribbon. I love this ribbon, kind of jazz it up a little bit. It's sheer gorgeous grape. No fancy bows here. Ultra simple card at the end. At Stamp Camp, I always save the easiest card for last because we've already made, 5 cards and we're starting to get tired. So this is like a Stamp Camp. We always do the hardest one first. Okay. This ribbon makes a great bow, I gotta say. Easy peasy bow. And, oops, you can put this up on dimensionals if you like. I am not going to today, but I am going to pop up my Thinking of You. I just want to show you, this comes from the stamp set. I don't think I showed you the stamp set. Look how pretty that is. Imagine it with some different watercolor techniques or just plain old ink. Super pretty, and lots of good sentiments. So I grabbed the Thinking of You, and I already did it to save time, but I just wanted to show you the set, and I wanted to show you the punch. It's the double oval punch, so you've got a simple, smaller, smooth oval and then a scalloped oval, and you layer them together for a quick and easy greeting. I lost my dimensionals, but there's always more. Oops. Okay. Okay, so this is yet another way to use these soft pastels. Poppin Pastels, an oldie but goodie. If you want to join my Best Paper Cuts idea sharing group, I'd be happy to see you there. And I have another way to, so I showed how to just color with the pastels. I did the Poppin Pastels. I'm also going to show you how to paint with the pastels, and you can paint on black, which you cannot do with ink, well, at least not with our water-based ink. And I'm sure there's other techniques that I'll be showing as well. I really have fun whenever Stampin' Up! Introduces something new, a new color medium. So just kind of just something different to play with, right? And so it's just fun. It's a $9 investment, but you'll have a lot of fun with it. And I hope that you'll try them out. If you have any questions about the pastel assortment, feel free to leave me an email or a comment here, and I'd be happy to answer them. Or if you have a technique that you want to see. Oh, I should tell you, it does work on vellum. It doesn't show up as much. You maybe put white underneath it. And I cut out a flower in vellum so that you can see. Oh, well, I got you. I also did it on crumb cake. Here it is on vellum. Okay, just want to be able to see that it does work. So I tried it on black and it doesn't show up sponged on black, but you can paint on black. Here's my swatch of that. So you can see that in an upcoming video. Anyway, I hope that you liked the Poppin Pastels technique, and I will post these up at my blog so you can get a look at them. I hope you'll come back and watch the painting with pastels video next. Bye-bye.